This is a Steam Deck and I've had it for about 2 weeks now. So I've decided to talk about my experience, using it as my handheld gaming PC during that period of time. So having a portable PC has honestly been really nice over the past 2 weeks. But the Steam Deck doesn't come without its own problems. Like, it's got issues as well that we'll talk about in this review right here. You can choose either a 64 gigabyte eMMC storage model, a 256 gigabyte NVMe storage model, and the highest and the fastest storage, which is 512 gigabytes NVMe storage. That's the one that I've got. Besides the difference in prices between the three models, there's also small perks like exclusive carrying cases or bags, and there's like a premium etched anti-glare screen on the 512 gigabyte model, which is the highest tier. It starts at $399 for the base model with the 64 gigabyte of storage, and the highest tier is going for $629 US. Just so you know, you can go ahead and pick up the base model, take out the 64 gigabyte storage on there, and then install a high-speed NVMe SSD of your own choice. But the thing is, you do that at your own risk. So make sure you know how to tinker with stuff before you open up your deck and try to install a new storage. You can also increase the storage by using an SD card. So that wouldn't be as fast as using an NVMe SSD. But honestly, I didn't even notice the difference in performance between gaming on the high-speed NVMe SSD on board the deck and using an external SD card. So they both work very well. There might be a slight difference, but it's not crazy and noticeable like that. The Steam Deck uses an AMD APU, which uses Zen 2 CPU, as well as 8 RDNA CUs for its GPU. So pretty solid. Every model also comes with 16 gigabytes of onboard RAM installed, which I found to be enough for all the games that I've played so far on the deck. All right, let's go over the hardware and all the different buttons and control options that you have with the deck. So first of all, the device is bulky and weighs about 1.5 pounds approximately. I love how the Switch is designed. I love how you can take out the Joy-Cons and basically shrink the device. But with the Steam Deck, you've just got the handheld like that. So that's one thing that I do not like about it, but they could definitely work on that, make it a smaller device with even more power. If you're like me and decide to throw in a case, which weighs about 0.5 pounds to 1 pound, then you're going to increase the weight of the deck even more. But I've got mine on there just so I can use a kickstand with the device, since it doesn't have a kickstand installed on it. The Steam Deck also has some really ergonomic grips. Like, it feels really nice to hold onto, but honestly, if you have small hands, I don't think you'll like it very much. Or just the fact that you're gonna have to change positions multiple times because you can't just take off the sides just like you would like the Nintendo Switch. And it doesn't have a kickstand, which honestly would have been really nice to have if you're going to be using it with, say, a controller or using it with a keyboard or a mouse. The Steam Deck also uses Bluetooth 5.0, which allows you to connect multiple devices to it. Like, I can connect my keyboard, my mouse, and use the device in desktop mode like an actual computer, or even just connect like an external controller like an Xbox controller, PS5 controller, a Nintendo Switch controller, and then use that or those controllers to game on the device. So you can remote play on your PC, but use the Steam Deck as the controller while using your computer monitor as your display for your Steam Deck. So it's got a large screen, at least for a device like that, a 7-inch IPS LCD screen that's touch enabled. I love the touch, it works very well. I haven't had any issues with it at all, and I love having that option to control or access the device. The screen also has a resolution of 1280 by 800, which is its maximum resolution, with a special 16 to 10 aspect ratio. Like, it's not a common screen resolution like you'd expect 1280 by 720. But honestly, I think it works for a device that's small, but it could definitely have, went for like a 1920 by 1080 screen, and I would not have complained. I would have been happier. I don't know if it would have been that much difference, but honestly, it still looks great either ways. The screen also has a 60 hertz refresh rate, which is great for gaming, which gives you, more fluid gameplay because you can now game at up to 60 frames per second. And I've been enjoying that, on games like Spider-Man or even Assassin's Creed Origins. It's also got 400 nits of typical brightness, and I found that, that works very well. Like, I can see the screen even when I'm outdoors, but I haven't really, used it outdoors much, like in a sunny or, a bright day. Like, I usually just take it out in the evenings, and that's when I'll play with it outside, and I can see very well in that kind of lighting. The screen on the highest tier also has a premium anti-glare etched glass. So that's supposed to help reduce, glares or reflections on the screen while you're gaming. Like, say you have a window in your background. And honestly, I've been checking that out, trying it out, in front of a window or multiple windows, and it works pretty well. Like, there's not as much reflections. It's still there, you know, like you can't really completely eliminate it, at least not from what I've seen on the deck. The screen on the Steam Deck also has pretty thick bezels, like very distracting in my honest opinion. Like I hate the bezels on the Steam Deck. Like I wish they were a lot thinner, like pretty much every device you see nowadays. I hate anything with, you know, thick bezels, to be honest with you guys. It just kind of feels like an older device. Let me know down in the comment section if it bothers you at all or if it doesn't bother you at all. As for all the buttons and controls on the Steam Deck, we've got an A, B, X, Y button, we've got a D-pad, we've got 2 analog sticks, 2 square trackpads with haptic feedback, view and menu buttons, a quick access button that, you know, accesses things like your brightness, your battery percentage, you know, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, you know, and all just different quick settings that you want to quickly access, you know, on the go. There's also a Steam button, which pretty much gives you access to like your library, the Steam store, your friends and chat, media, download settings, and power options. So on the front side, there's also a stereo set of speakers. And I found that they work very well, you know, for a device like that. You know, nothing mind-blowing. If you want, you know, the best sound quality you could get, you'd probably want to use headphones, you know, that are third party to the device itself. So on top of the device, we've got volume controls, a 3.5mm audio jack, and then we've got opening for heat dissipation, you know, a vent. And right next to that, we've got a USB-C port for charging, as well as, you know, connecting to a dock or even connecting directly to an external monitor. Next to that, we've got an LED indicator light for, you know, when the battery is charging. And right next to that, we've got the power button. So you push it once to put the device to sleep, you push and hold it if you want to, you know, get different power options, as well as if you want to switch to desktop mode, which we'll get into in a bit here. So besides that, we've also got left and right triggers and bumpers. So L1, R1, L2, R2. Underneath the device, we've got a slot for an SD card. So if you want to add whatever size SD card, whatever the maximum is, you can throw it in there, you know, and just have all your games on there. That way you can have access to even more games, you know, on your deck. For me, what I like to do personally is put all the games that I'm actively playing on my NVMe SSD, so the one that's on board the deck, and then I put the games that I'm not actively playing on the SD card. So that way I'm using the fastest storage for all the games that I'm, you know, currently playing, and the slower storage for games that I'm not currently playing. I've also found a very annoying issue when transferring games between the SSD and, you know, an external SD card. Like whenever I try to transfer from the SSD to the SD card, there's no issues at all. When I decide to transfer back from the SD card, I run into an issue where it tells me the file is locked. Like I can't find out how to, you know, unlock it or open it. I don't know what that issue is. And I've done some research, and I think there's people also going through the same issue, but no solution yet. But hopefully there's an update coming or something that will fix that. On the back side of the deck, there's 4 back grip buttons that you can assign to whatever functions you want. One cool thing about gaming on a Steam Deck is you can set up different controls the way you want for different games. Like you can have different controller layouts for different games. Like you can have the back grips do different things for different games. You can have X, A, B, and Y do different things for different games. There's also a single vent as well on the back side, you know, for heat dissipation. So 2 vents in total, and I found that works well enough for the device. The Steam Deck also uses a 6-axis gyroscope. The controls on the device also have cool features like Steam Haptics and Game Rumble. Like Steam Haptics will pretty much give you haptic feedback, and Game Rumble will, you know, make the device vibrate when things happen within the game. So more immersive experience that way. When you get the device, you get SteamOS on it that, you know, keeps updating every time there's a new version out. You can go ahead and install Windows if you prefer that OS, but I've heard a lot of things about Windows OS and how unstable it could be. If you want the full experience, you should keep SteamOS on there and, you know, just have all your games on there. So with the SteamOS, you can use it in 2 different ways. You can use it in desktop mode, or you can use it in gaming mode. Gaming mode is kind of how you started off with, and it's, you know, more user-friendly than desktop mode. Desktop mode is, you know, how you would download, you know, applications that are not supported by Steam, for example, or games that are not supported by Steam, for example, and then, you know, add them to the device. Like, it pretty much acts like a desktop computer, like, you know, a Windows PC, but with SteamOS. When you're in gaming mode, you have access directly to, you know, all the recent games you've played. You have access to things like friends, recommended, and, you know, other options like that. Also, if you push the Steam button on the device, it brings up different options that you can go between. You can go into your library, you know, see all the different games that you've got, you know, separate it into different collections as well. Like you can separate what games are best played on the deck from games that aren't best played on the decks. That way you can know which ones have the best compatibility with the device. Or you can, create your own collections, dynamic collections. As you add games, it just automatically updates itself based on certain filters that you've already set. I think that you'll find yourself using gaming mode a lot more than, desktop mode, unless you're just getting the Steam Deck to tinker with it. So besides the SteamOS in gaming mode being very easy to navigate, you can quickly access your gaming library, which has, access to all the games that you already have on your Steam account. So it just pulls it all in, and you can just download them directly onto the deck. So if you go for the smallest storage option, you're probably not gonna be able to get any games on there. You're going to need an SD card immediately. Like the smallest game that I've got on mine is probably about 40 or 50 gigabytes. And like I said, 64 gigabytes is not going to be enough. But now you have access to all your Steam games on the go. You also have access to Steam Cloud Saves on the Steam Deck, which allows you to continue your gameplay from your PC wherever you stopped on the deck as well. So you can just keep going back and forth between your PC and your deck, and you get to finish your games or your backlog a lot faster. Now, the Steam Deck allows you to access a whole bunch of games, but not every single game is compatible with the Steam Deck. If you've bought games that aren't on the Steam game launcher on PC, maybe you bought it on Epic launcher or, Origins or something like that, then you might want to do a little bit of research. I'm pretty sure there's ways that you can install those launchers, on the Steam Deck and then get access to your games. The device uses Wi-Fi to access the internet, so it doesn't have cellular option or anything like that, but you can create a hotspot on your phone and then use the Wi-Fi off of that. So far, I've been playing a lot of Spider-Man, which was just added to PC, and I've been loving it. Everything has been working very well. Like, it's very smooth. Definitely nothing compared to gaming on my PC at even higher frame rates. But honestly, the portability of the Steam Deck is what sets it apart from a PC. For those of you wondering about Gamepass support on the Steam Deck, it doesn't really, exist yet, but there's kind of a workaround, for accessing Xbox Game Cloud. So that works so far, and I've got it, set up on mine. But you need internet connection to use that because it's pretty much cloud gaming. So it's not really Game Pass, since you can't download the actual game files themselves and then store it on the device. But for right now, that works. But if you can't wait for Game Pass support to come to the Steam Deck, then you can definitely go ahead and install Windows OS on your device as well. So just like a lot of handhelds out there, the Steam Deck also has a dock, but the dock is not available yet. So it's been delayed multiple times, but third-party docks already exist. So I haven't tried out any of the third-party docks out there yet, but I've connected my Steam Deck directly to my USB-C monitor. So an ultra-wide 5K monitor, just to test out how it works. And it worked well, but it doesn't support a lot of crazy ultra-wide resolutions, but it kind of still worked with that monitor. So I plan on testing different docks as well as the official dock when Steam does decide to officially release it. All right, so the worst thing about the deck is the final thing I'm gonna talk about. This is the battery life. So it's got a 40 watt-hour battery, and it doesn't last very long unless you're only gonna be playing using emulators, retro games and stuff like that. But if you're gonna be playing, AAA games, which is honestly the only reason why I would want, a portable gaming PC. You can only get about 2 hours, when playing, top quality games or demanding games in general, but that's not a lot, and you don't even get up to those 2 hours. Like, you don't get that while really gaming. Like, personally, when I play, I never get that much. Like, even when you check the projected battery life, like, you'll see how much battery life you've got depending on what you're doing with the console. Like, if you're not, gaming, like, you'll probably have 4 hours, 5 hours. So what I've done, to extend my playtime on the Steam Deck is, get a power bank. So a power bank allows me to use it on the go, but now it's now an extra thing I gotta bring around with, an already bulky device. So now that's more weight, and it's starting to defeat the purpose of having a portable device. So if you do decide to pick up the deck, make sure you're ready to grab a power bank to go with it as well, or you're not gonna be getting a lot of playtime out of that device. You're going to have to charge it all the time or have it plugged in all the time. And even when shopping for a power bank, you gotta shop for the right one. You gotta make sure that you got one that can supply, the 45 watts of power delivery that the device needs to, charge, or you're going to be losing charge. Honestly, the Steam Deck is a great idea and it's a great product, but like I said, it's got some issues that you'd either have to live with or, just skip out on this first iteration and hope that they, improve upon those problems with the next one. Hopefully there's a next one. Just know that you can't get it right away. You have to reserve it. And I'm pretty sure like their shipping windows are not as bad as they were, when I pre-ordered it last year. I'll catch you guys in my next video. I'm out, y'all.